Hi everyone, and welcome to Module 6, Place and Belonging. Belonging is not a theme that I've written about. It's not something that I have a particular expertise in, so I have decided to draw upon the resources of some of the people around me, including my colleague Mitch Lowe, who will give you a guest lecture on this theme a little later in this module. That said, of course, if you're living in a place like Australia, it seems to me that it's difficult to escape questions about belonging, particularly if you're involved in the academic world in some sort of a way. But if you teach about Australia, it's a theme that's really been popping up all over the place in a variety of ways. And I can't help but wondering the extent to which being in a place that seems and feels so far away from the rest of the world, if that's part of the background to this type of question and how it seems to have a special poignancy in this place. The extent to which the fact that it is a settler nation that hasn't quite come to terms with its settlement is also perhaps a part of that, a sense that for the non-Indigenous Australians, that there is a sense that belonging is not quite legitimate. What does it mean to call Australia home? So there's some of the questions that I think arise in Australia, and I'd be very interested to hear what some of you think of that. And of course, those of you who aren't in Australia, those of you who are living in other parts of the globe, you've probably got some thoughts on this too. Perhaps if you live in a settler nation yourself or an old world nation, what does it mean to call the place that you're in home? What do you belong to? Of course, the chances are in many instances, it's not the nation. Well, it depends where your football team's playing, perhaps, for those of you with an interest in sport. Where do you belong? What do you belong to? Who do you belong to? They're the three fairly obvious main questions that arise here as we start to think about this emerging theme of belonging. Emerging? Perhaps it has already emerged. You be the judge of that. In a moment, we're going to have an introduction to Mitch Lowe, a little discussion that I've recorded with him. We then ask you to read Miller's piece, Dr. Lynn Miller's piece, Belonging as Social, which is taken out of her overall PhD thesis called Being and Belonging, a thesis produced at the University of Tasmania. One of the things I really want to invite you to do this week is to think about how you can interrogate a question of belonging. And you're probably not going to be able to do it directly. You need to think about how senses of belonging are evident in everyday life, in everyday practice. And be you a MOOC student, be you a locally enrolled UWA student, I really want to get you to start asking questions of those around you, your friends, your family, your enemies perhaps. Just starting to get a sense of what it is they're attached to, who they're attached to, the places that are special to them, that they feel might give them a sense of belonging. You may not be a question you want to ask directly initially, it may be something you can come to later. But just start to ask people about where they feel they belong. And of course I can see how you could ask that more directly and maybe some interesting stuff could come out of that. And we'll invite you to share some of those thoughts in the forum. And those of you who are enrolled locally, I'm looking forward to hearing some of your findings in the tutorials coming up on Monday and Tuesday. Then we're taking you to Vanessa May's marvellous little paper, Self-Belonging and Social Change, which I think is one of those papers that really puts this theme very much into the sociological realm and gives it quite a bit of direction. We'll then have a conversation with Dr. May, who is a academic at the University of Manchester, that great home of industrial civilization. She will talk to us about her paper and also about her upcoming book on this theme of belonging. Mitch Lowe will then offer you some guiding thoughts, some consolidating ideas about this theme of belonging, and then we will have some consolidation exercises to follow. Go well with it all. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's one of those themes that can have particular sort of resonance for us as we start to contemplate ourselves, our place in the world, and of course the place in the world of those around us. Good luck with it. I hope you enjoy it.